We would like to take this time to recognize our sponsors and underwriters, Attorney Lee Richardson, Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union, Temple of Refuge Ministries, Reflections Paint and Body Shop, Diva Skin Conditioner, Helping Hands Lawn Service, Prairie View Athletic Club, The Purple Drip Daiquiri and Grill. If you or your business would like to be a part of our sponsors and underwriters team, feel free to reach out to us at 832-213-8824. It's the radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to Football Friday edition of the Mike Prince Show. Of course, our mission is to come to you each and every day with news that you could use. You can follow me on Twitter at the Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is Open Mic Broadcast Network. The website, obnradio.com, and our 24-hour dial-in message line, 713-570-6736. And without any further delay, we're going to jump right into today's episode. Of course, it being Football Friday, we're going to touch on some football, but we have a very special interview lined up for your listening pleasure. We'll hear from the commissioner of the Southland Conference, Tom Burnett. But before we get into that, we've been running our poll, and you guys have not been showing any love toward my Lady Panthers. Although the games have been postponed this weekend between Mississippi Valley and Arkansas Pine Bluff, the poll question was asked, do you believe that the Panthers have enough in the tank to get them in qualification status for the SWAC tournament, which you only have to be at least the 8th seed. Right now, they're currently at the 10th seed. And it was a resounding no from those who participated in our poll. I'll keep a close watchful eye on that one. I do believe that they can turn things around. Of course, it's AFC NFC Championship weekend. Who are you picking? Buffalo Bills versus Kansas City and Tampa Bay versus Green Bay. Well, I've been wrong probably 70% of the time that I've picked my games this season. I do not do it for gambling purposes, only for the spirit of entertainment and talking pieces for the show. So with that being said, I'm going to make my picks or who I believe will make it to the Super Bowl. I know Kansas City is the juggernaut of the AFC, but I like the chances of Buffalo representing the AFC in the Super Bowl this season. And as far as the NFC goes, wow. I'm going to give you a short version of a very long story. My brother, who's the only one I have on the planet, is an absolute diehard Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. He has been a Buccaneer fan since their acceptance into the conference in 1976. And he has suffered through a many disappointing season. And although Aaron Rodgers is definitely the man, I'm going to have to stick with my bloodline in this one. And I'm going to pick with my emotion and pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I am on record for saying Tampa Bay and Buffalo in Super Bowl 55. And ironically enough, in Tampa Bay, Florida. That's my pick. I'm sticking to it. We got a lot in store for you. We'll take a quick pause and we'll switch right over to our Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline with Southland Commissioner Tom Burnett. You listen to the Mike Prince Show right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
At 17 cents a day, you can make a huge impact on our local and regional high school and college student athletic coverage. We provide local talk shows, live game coverage, and much more. But we need your support to continue to move forward. Visit our website today at obnradio.com. Click on the PayPal button, which is safe and secure, and become a listening partner today. Will you become part of the Open Mic Broadcast Network team? Visit that website at obnradio.com and become a listening partner today. Serving the community through faith and athletics, the voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, Prairie View, Texas.
Welcome
back to the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. We have a very special guest lined up with us on today. He represents the Southland Conference for the past 23 years as commissioner, and it is none other than Mr. Tom Burnett. How you doing today, sir?
Mike, I'm doing great today. Great to hear you and visit with you today.
Well, we are awfully thankful for you making yourself available on the show for today. And I don't have to overemphasize, but this is a very unique time for you guys at the Southland Conference these days.
Well, you know, it is. As I think people know, we're going to undergo some membership change in the coming months. And obviously, we're still dealing with a global pandemic and, trying to get back on track and get through the virus. And hopefully we can all get there, not just us in the Southland Conference, and we can get back to what we remember as a more normal life and kind of getting back on track, as we mentioned.
Absolutely. Now, I know with 23 years at the helm, with the addition of the COVID virus and the shifting of the conference as you know it right now, is this probably one of the most unique times since you've been in leadership that you've seen in your 23 years?
Well, I think so, Mike. Certainly, specifically close to home here, our membership issues are certainly something that you would probably prefer not to have to deal with in the middle of all this. But, that being said, we are where we are, and, but that's not unprecedented. We've been in positions before where we have had membership departure that gets the initial attention of everything, but then we kind of follow that up with, membership additions that allow us to continue to be successful, to continue to grow, do really good things for our student athletes, and of course have competitive success. And we're at that point, that juncture again right now. And yeah, it's unique, but it's not so unprecedented that we haven't done it before. So it's something that it's an opportunity. And we look forward to that opportunity, and we put some measures in place to really move forward on this.
Now, we always say that hindsight is 20/20, and when you look at some of the, tea leaf readings, could you see this coming, or was this something that came as a surprise with the massive exodus that you had at one time?
Well, I don't know that I would call it a surprise, and it just didn't occur, a couple of weeks ago with the announcement. Obviously, some of our members, were looking at an alternative, and we were engaged with those members as well, and that kind of gets lost in this too. It wasn't as if, one day everything's fine and the next day they call you and say they're leaving. There was a lot of lead up to this. There was a lot of work done with our office and these departing members. Honestly, sometimes I wonder if I can get these 3 months back in my life, but that's about the period of time we spent really engaging at a very high level with these schools to, kind of see what was on their mind, what they were thinking. And at the end of the day, they made the decision they made, and it comes to another reality for me that I share with some folks every now and then, is that, people tend to forget conference membership is really a voluntary exercise. There's really nothing, keeping schools in a conference forever. They are free to leave. Now, certainly there's a business transaction and all of that at the end of that, but whether it's happened to us or we see it with other conferences around the country, there's going to be changes, and schools of their own free will are able to leave, when they believe they need to do that.
We're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline now with Commissioner of the Southland Conference, Tom Burnett, and we're discussing the newest challenges is what we'll use. We won't say problems, because problems are not problems unless you handle them like problems. We just say the new challenge and the new chapter in the Southland life. With that being said, Commissioner,
The next move is going to be a critical move, and is, been indications of a search firm to help you reach out to offer invites to potential members of the Southland Conference. What is the prototypical type of membership that you seek for on this journey?
Well, that's a great question, Mike, and I will tell you that I don't know that I can fully answer the question yet because, while we're not at the very start of our process, we're still fairly early in that process that we think will take us through the spring months, and, maybe by June 1st, we've got an idea of exactly what we're doing. But, I will tell you that whether it's our conference or any other conference, I think what people are looking for are potential members that bring, great strategic value to our conference. And that can be a broad spectrum of things they bring to the table, so to speak. Obviously, you want to find institutions that are academically sound, do the right things, not only for their student athletes, but their general student population. They serve a greater purpose with their university communities, metro areas perhaps, or whatever that might be. But you're also looking for a strong athletic brand. That's the business we're in, and you want some people that have come to know success in the past and are interested, obviously, in not only maintaining that, but improving it as well. And, our intention would be to sell the fact that, people have success in this conference, and it's attainable, it's achievable, and you can not only be successful within the conference, you can step outside of the conference and be successful as well. We're looking at growth. We're interested in how student population has grown at a university, how development fundraising has grown over time. We're interested in facilities and how good are those facilities. Are they Division I facilities? For us, it's geographic fit as well. We have always had kind of a tight geography. Maybe some long bus rides in there, but bus rides nonetheless, and that's important to us as well. We're looking at media attention. We're looking at, kind of where we want to do business within that footprint. So there are a lot of factors that come into play that kind of get mixed up into this large gumbo of different factors that we will consider as we go forward, and we're getting into that right now.
Now, when you mentioned the geographical footprint, right now it is basically Texas, Louisiana. Are there any other states that would be on the short list to say, let's probe in this particular area to see what we can get a hold to?
Yeah, another great question. I think we would be open-minded enough to look just beyond our borders. I don't think we're ever going to be a conference that stretches over various multiple time zones where airplane travel is just a necessity. I think, at least initially, we're going to look, when we call our footprint, you're exactly right, Texas, Louisiana, but could it be border states that are reachable and make sense from a travel standpoint? A big thing about travel is not only when you go someplace, but how easy is it for you to come back home and get your student athletes back in class, back on track before they have to leave again or get into other competition. So that's a big factor as well. And I would say that, staying close to home is always going to be an important thing in this conference, and it always has been.
Yes, sir, no doubt about it. Once again, we're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline with Commissioner Tom Burnett of the Southland Conference, and we're talking about some of the strategic moves that are being made for the continued existence of the Southland Conference. With that, there have been reports indicated that you've reached out to a few Division II programs, but from my vantage point, and you're the expert at this, would that be somewhat of a reach with the requirements necessary for the school to step up as far as the financial obligations and the time zone for the transitional period?
Yeah, I'd probably start by saying we really haven't reached out to anyone at this point, and again, the consulting firm that we brought in is really going to kind of lead a lot of that. But we have added Division II schools before, but they were identified as institutions that could really do special things in Division I. We did not ever in our history want to bring a Division II school into Division I, and then they have the inability to be competitive, to keep up with academic standards, to play, prominent non-conference opponents. So, when you're looking at Division II schools, I think certainly you want to be able to identify maybe not where they are right now, but where's this program going to be in 5, 10, 15 years? And we've always tried to put this forward focus on some people may not be able to identify or see what we're seeing right now, but we have indications that wait another 5 years when they get through the Division I transition and they put things in place and they build this facility they've been talking about, things change. And over time, we've had success with programs that have done that, programs like Central Arkansas, Abilene Christian, Incarnate Word in San Antonio has done some really good things as well and have great plans for the future. So you really got to be able to see down the road with some schools like that. But also that doesn't rule out the possibility of some Division I members that are already in Division I. And, we'll take a look at what the landscape around us, looks like. And if there's some opportunities there, we will certainly, explore that opportunity when it's all said and done.
Well, you just left the door wide open for me to ask you this next question. So I might as well go ahead and shoot the cannon right now.
Sure.
There are a couple of schools within the Texas footprint that are in another conference, a neighboring conference of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Are there likely possibilities of at least conversation of those schools possibly coming over to the Southland?
Yeah, Mike, I would tell you, really anything and everything is on the table. Now, that's not to say that that'd be the direction we would go. And certainly understanding, the location of those schools and certainly the success of a lot of those schools and the historical connection they have, perhaps in their own conference, very respectful of that and how they do things. But certainly, you're right. People ask questions. School names may pop up here or there. Whether realistically you get to that point or not, it's too early for me to say. But certainly, what we want to do is provide, potential members, a great future, the potential for success. Again, some of the other, items I mentioned earlier, geographic fit, all of that. Very important to us, obviously, but we want those to also be important to potential members. And as we advance in this process, maybe we'll get the opportunity to do exactly that and discuss all of that. But it's really too early for us to kind of peg this one or that one or, whoever it might be. We're just so early in our process.
Very well respected, and we'll receive that, and we'll turn the page on that one. The next question, you have 8 schools that remain in your conference right now. 6 of them have football ties, which is the bare minimum for the FCS open bid, or should I say automatic bid for the FCS playoffs. Now, with that being said, and research and reports are indicating that the current ADs that remain are talking about possibly rebranding and even going forth to changing the name of the conference as we know it to be the Southland Conference right now. Here comes the question. With FCS football, in comparison to the payout of that of the NCAA, is it possible that you would put an emphasis on becoming focused on basketball being your top tier sport versus football compared to the amount of the return of investment?
Well, it's another great question, Mike, and as I think you know and many others of your listeners know that, NCAA basketball really funds most everything we do from a conference perspective. The dynamic of football, even at the FCS level, and you witnessed this firsthand, it is so very important to our local university communities, the history, the legacy of programs, but a lot of that is a local dynamic. I would argue that FCS football may not be so much of a national product as it is more of a regional and local product. And that's not to say it's bad. It's very good. And I've often told people that football in Lake Charles, Louisiana, is just as important as it is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for a program like LSU. The scale is different, but it's just as important. And it drives so much locally in a campus community, the media attention, the private giving, the student enrollment and involvement with athletics, the support groups like cheerleaders and bands, and how that drives enrollments and is very important. So the basketball the way I put it, it pays the bills for the conference, but local football and the success of that really drives everything there locally. So, the Southland has always been a football league, and I think it always will be, but I will tell you basketball is very important for all of us as well, and that's not just our conference. But you had asked about, the possibility of rebranding the conference. It's kind of an interesting question. I don't know that it's at or near the top of the list, but certainly some curiosity there as to whether or not, in reimagining your conference, does that also include, maybe a new look, a new brand, new image? That's something that I would say might be farther down the road, but it's not the priority at this point.
Okay, very good. And once again, we're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline with Commissioner Tom Burnett of the Southland Conference. And I got to tip my hat to you, sir. You're answering every question without reservation, and I thoroughly appreciate that, because what we like about our listeners is that they're informed, in tune, and very well aware of what's going on, and we appreciate your candidness and your transparency. With that being said, when you are making these readjustments, and I believe everyone that's connected to athletics, whether it's on an administrative level or water boy, is competitive to a degree. And when you're making these readjustments and rethinking this or rethinking that, have you at one point taken it personal on the success or the new challenges that you face right now?
Another great question, Mike. And, we're all competitive. I will tell you, I've worked in a conference office now for over 3 decades. You can tend to be a little bit numb to the competitive issues that occur on a campus or between campuses, or I like orange. Well, I like purple. Well, those are team colors that really don't have any play in the conference office, other than they're part of the family, they're brother and brother, sister and sister, and they're going to be competitive, and we understand that. As a conference administrator, while you're numb to that, I can also be very competitive. I will tell you, during an NCAA playoff or an NCAA basketball tournament, I am trying to be as professional as I can, but I'm beating the bottom of that table, and I am dying on the inside.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hoping we win. So we're all competitive, but taking it personally is a little bit different issue. You can certainly, have some lament or regret this or that, maybe in a process, but you really can't spend a whole lot of time on it. You got to be thinking about the greater good and moving forward, and how do we make these changes? Who's going to be next up? Who's going to be that program or group of programs that's going to step up and help lead us, in the future? Is it a current member? Could it possibly be a new member? Well, as commissioner, I'm hoping it's both. And that may be where I take it a little bit personal is that I'm interested in everyone's success and want everyone to grow and get better and really bring value to their larger university through their athletics program, in association with their conference membership. So that may be something that drives me a little more personally than, maybe losing a member or two or more than that.
Okay, very good, very good. Now, you made the reference of the local dynamics of, in particular, the football program. With the impact of what was been dubbed as the Texas 4 and Central Arkansas, what impact does that have on your media relationship with your nation brand contract? I won't call their names out of respect.
Yeah, well, again, something that we think of. I will tell you over time, our media agreements have grown exponentially. And, we're very proud of that. I will tell you that while they were existent when I arrived back in 2003, there wasn't a whole lot there. And we're very proud of how they've grown. And, our intention is to place every home sporting event on a national platform. Now, that might be a digital platform at times, but our focus is really putting our programs and from top to bottom into what I kind of refer to as the mainstream of Division I athletics. And to me, part of that is not only winning games, advancing in postseason, winning in the non-conference, but that's also putting out our product nationally like everyone else around us. And, I think we're on track for that. We're very proud of, the agreements we've gotten to, and we think those can continue to grow. And certainly another factor when you talk about the possibility of new membership, how can they help us in that area? What's their brand name like? How does that help drive media attention and coverage with your national partners? All very important to what we do. And likewise on the corporate sales side, with our provider, certainly the next moves we make will be very important to them as well.
Absolutely. And my final question for you, sir, if someone were to ask you, what does the future of the Southland Conference look like, what would your response be?
Well, I would say that because we have a great brand, we've had a great history in this conference, almost 60 years as a conference, in a group of schools with just a tremendous amount of value that collectively, make us what we are. I'm a firm believer that great institutions make the conference. And while the conference can help its institutions, it doesn't make those schools. Those schools make the conference. We're in a really desirable geographic footprint. We live in a great place, a great area of the country, growing markets, big cities. We're in Houston, we're in New Orleans, we're in San Antonio currently, and we feel really good about that. We've got some other great destination locations in our conference. And really, at the end of the day, we've got great people in this conference. We've got wonderful administrators, coaches, support staff, and of course our student athletes who, the reason we're here, make us just a great entity, and we can continue to build on that in the future. So, yeah, what I see in 5-10 years is a solid organization continuing to move forward, continuing to make an impact in Division I athletics, and really bringing value to the larger universities. So that's big and broad. But I think that's who we are, who we've been for a long time, and certainly don't expect that to change. We're really looking forward to what's ahead of us.
Very well said, sir. He is Tom Burnett, the Commissioner of the Southland Conference. Sir, we thank you so much for allowing us to chat with you on today. We have a custom here at the open mic where we allow our guests to have some closing thoughts and comments, and the floor is now yours.
Well, thank you, Mike. I really appreciate the opportunity to share some thoughts on the Southland Conference and certainly our future. And while, I will tell folks that, that this can be seen as problematic or challenging, as we've said, this is really an opportunity. We're going through an unprecedented time in our society. We talk about the pandemic. We talk about how our lives have all changed because of that. We've talked about, really the shameful racial injustice issues that our society has seen, and that's been spotlighted more than any time in our recent history. We've had a couple of hurricanes come through our conference here, really in one location, Lake Charles, in the last year. And, hurricanes can be so devastating. But, through all of that, things get better. We're going to get past the virus. Hopefully, we're going to get past and beyond and in a better place with social justice, racial injustice. I'm going to tell you, Lake Charles is going to build back better than ever. There's a lot of potential ahead. And the same thing applies here. We may have a moment where realignment, membership departure puts us in perhaps not a place of advantage right now. But there's an opportunity there. There's a future there. We've got an opening to rebuild and build this back as well. And, we're planning to do that. And we think it's going to be a great ride. And we think, the future of the Southland is going to be fantastic. And we can't wait to get to it.
Once again, he is Tom Burnett, the commissioner of the Southland Conference on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. Sir, we thank you so much for joining us on today. I want to thank you all for joining us on The Mike Prince Show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is Open Mic Broadcast Network, and our 24-hour dial-in message line, 713-570-6736. My time is far spent, and I must exit stage left. But until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.